So poops, it's raining, it's pouring. And that's why today we're gonna talk about the Rain Rave knife incident. So poop, this knife is fake, but that one wasn't. Pause. What are we looking at? That right there is a woman who just casually took a knife out of her bag in the middle of the Rain Rave festival held in Bukit Bintang to go and stab this man. Why? Hell if I know, but she tries to stab, and before you know it, guy's got some jujitsu moves going on. Note the girl, by the way, who's just casually going over and trying to bite her while taking a selfie. And then the guy in the yellow cap just casually taking control of the knife. Oh, whoop. Failed to hold on, she's a tough one.
Let's pull her hair instead.
And you can see more people trying to stop while security finally comes in. CQC maneuver. And there you go, everyone's piling on, pulling. That's right. Wow. I don't know how the guy decided to make an announcement at this exact point, but like, whatever it is. And that, poops, is the Rain Rave knife attack. Kind of an interesting souvenir to bring back from the Rain Rave. It's not really as good as my souvenir though. Let's just say that that's one of the more unforgettable moments that came out of this whole thing. So poops, let me start by saying that that was a bad incident. In no way was that something that you point at and say, hey, look, it's so great that that happened during the rave. No, it's very clearly an example of sus behaviour. And if you think about it, probably the kind of thing that all of the Rain Rave penunggangs, threats, superheroes, pejuang bangsers are gonna go talk about, like each other's comments for biar semoga Tiong King Sing dipecat. Well, they can say what they want, but I don't think people are thinking that he deserves to be fired at this point. In fact, I think that he probably has scored quite a number of points at this point. Congratulations to you, Dato Sri, The Fame, DJS Playground, and a whole bunch of other organizations who were involved in making this thing succeed. But yep, 30,000 people on the last night, millions of possible incidents, and you had one arrest. Hey, considered very good already leh. But this isn't to be defensive. It's just to say that before you go out and scream about how rain raves are horrible, syirik tak patut diikuti oleh umat, you might want to dial back a bit and actually think about what happened in that situation. It was one person, one attack, and apparently, according to this guy, she has mental health issues and she went to Hospital Shah Alam. She was remanded, it seems, which basically means that she can't be in public. But basically, it looks like it's a mental health issue and not whatever it is that the lebais and penunggangs seem to think, that apparently if you listen to EDM, then suddenly you're just gonna break out ki xiao, become a xiao lah. Cause if that's the case, then Kari Jamaluddin, I'm sorry, but you're in big trouble. And yes, it's true, if you look at things on the surface, it does seem bad. Maybe people are gonna be looking at this particular girl and the fact that she is Indian and then start making grand conclusions about how, oh, type K serupa ini, pesta air memang macam ini, or whatever nonsense excuses they want to make, because the fuel of their existence is just gaslighting, and even more gaslighting. You know for a fact that all the penunggangs will try to do anything in their power to knock down Tiong for allegedly tak hormat agama persekutuan, while they slander and lie about how apparently Rain Rave is syirik religious songkran, or whatever nonsense it is that they want to use to control people, while they point to a single crime committed by a mentally ill person because they want to gaslight people. They don't actually care about public safety. They've only ever cared about whether they win elections and if they can collect their MP allowance. So what, you're saying that this shows that people are all going crazy? Dude, if they were all going crazy, all mabuk, no awareness, cannot think for themselves, do you think that they would have been able to stop her? No, they would have not. They are just out there having fun, enjoying themselves of every race and religion, including, by the way, the people who are casually talking about how you yappers are out there to kecam them. But just look at this. Chinese man detains her, girl tries to stop her, another random guy restrains her arm, Malay officer comes in, stops her, someone who appears to be a foreigner and part of Malaysian society, not necessarily by nationality, goes and stops her as well. And there you can see that spirit as security takes action in no more than 10 to 20 seconds. And there you have a picture of collaboration between everybody in order to preserve our public safety. I don't think that shows that this is hedonism in action. No, this actually shows that Malaysians are taking action to make sure that dangers to our society don't get to stay as dangers. Compare that to what y'all did when you started complaining only 20 days after MOTAC announced that this event was going to be a thing. Why did you do that? Because you just want votes. It's not because you actually care about your people. They don't even need you, sapoops. They can settle things like this on their damn own, so they don't need your stupid religious gaslighting. But you know, through all of this, I think that there are some really very real questions that we have to deal with. And the first one is what
the brother
said. I mean, like, he says that, hey, your sister has mental health issues, and they said she's fine. So the question is, Hospital Shah Alam, what were you doing? Was this person actually a patient in your hospital that you actually just released?
Can you explain why you released her?
Some other questions actually come to the fore. Like, for example, bro, like, why does your sister have a knife like that? If you actually zoom in on it, you can see that it's not an ordinary knife. It's not a culinary knife. Like, it's actually dangerous. Where did she get it? And why is it that you as a family didn't even know that she had it? Yet another question might then be, yo, why are you guys letting her just come out onto the street like that? Do you not see how that could be a danger? I mean, I totally get, guys, that as a society, we should have compassion towards people who have mental illnesses or conditions like that. But really, saying sorry like this is not sufficient. It's just not. This is actually endangering the public, endangering the lives of people. And we are lucky that there wasn't a freaking Itaewon crowd surge stampede, because given what I know about what happened at the Rain Rave, like, that was actually quite possible. So that's a very important question. How could we have actually prevented that as a society? And then that aside, we also have questions about security, because I think most of you out there know I don't think that the security was slow in any way, shape or form. I mean, in the 2 days that I went for the Rain Rave, they acted pretty okay. Like, for example, when you're near the main area and getting splashed with water, basically everybody wants to just go closer and closer towards the main stage. But it's basically super packed, nobody can actually move, and when you start jumping or moving around, then you're gonna smack into people. So when I was in the middle of the main stage crowd getting sprayed with water and having my electronics destroyed, there was one dude just jumping up and down and smashing the people in front of him, and the guy in front of him turned around and started choking the guy. Security responded in less than 20 seconds, and it was exactly the same for what you had with the girl with the knife. But so I guess people would then say, hey, if it's not a problem with the actual enforcement of security, then maybe there should be a back check. You should have checkpoints to make sure that nobody has weapons or anything else. And I think that does make sense, and maybe it's something that the organizers should think about for the future. But the thing is, you might want to ask yourself, right? How far do you want to go with that? Do you want Bukit Bintang to become a place where people are constantly getting checked like that? I mean, it's a tourist location, not like a military encampment. So are you really going to be doing something like that all the time? Questions. But whatever the case may be, it's pretty clear to me that the incident is a lot more complicated than a lot of people might think. There are lots of things that we don't even know about yet, and that can only really be answered when the police actually go and inquire into what made this particular Xiao Lang, I'm sorry to say, into the Xiao Lang that she is, and then use it to sweep away all the hard work that MOTAC and all of the partners did in order to make this event a success. You know, I've said a lot about culture and about how maybe we shouldn't be treating this incident as a grounds to either have or not have a Rain Rave next year, but I do want to say at the end of the day that even though what happened with the girl was a bad thing, I think that Rain Rave was really a huge achievement, something that I really enjoyed. The lineup was just amazing. It was a huge technological, administrative, music selection and artistic masterpiece that I unreservedly congratulate the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, Dato Tiong and so many other people along the way for pushing forward our culture and doing our very best to make it successful. And for reference, I actually went to a private club after the Rain Rave. The cover charge was like 120 ringgit. I got it for free because I had a guest list, but the music was terrible. The owner gave me a middle finger for literally just asking him what the name of the club meant. I'm not gonna say which club it is. And honestly, the knife incident incident is a blemish, but overall, it was a very, very successful event, and I'm honored to have been a part of it. And a big part of that may or may not be because it's a chance to see all the lebais get pissed off. Whoa, 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 whoa. But yeah, the girl with the knife, I don't know if you ever listen to this or if you understand what I'm saying, but you really need to get treatment, and if you're the family members of that girl, seriously, if she doesn't have the capacity and she goes out there and harms people, it's not something that you can say sorry for. So please, as a citizen of Malaysia who cares also about other citizens in my country, take good care of your sister, your daughter, your whoever. Make sure to keep her away from any sharp objects in the future because we don't want a repeat of any of this out there. And to the girl who tried eating the knife holder, human beings are nutritious and you're going to start making people say that Chinese people will eat anything. Anyway, jokes aside, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. That's all to say about that, and bye.